Welcome to Degrees of Separation, a podcast where we journey to learn how we are connected and who we are connected to.
It gives us at least a glimpse of how connected we all are.
From entrepreneurs and small business owners to difference makers and thought leaders throughout our communities. This is Degrees of Separation with Joshua Peacock and Daryl DJ Sales.
What it is, what it do, man. We back off up in this thing one more time, man. It's your host, Elder Joshua Peacock.
And Daryl DJ Sales.
Yes, sir, man. Welcome to Degrees of Separation, where we come to find out who we're connected to and how we are connected to them, man. Yes, sir, man. We have a very, very good topic on today, man. It's a good one, man. Hopefully you join in and you enjoy the conversation, man. But, man, before we get there, man, how you been doing, brother?
Oh, man, all is well, man. You know, just over the road, kicking it. The Lord's been good, man. Yep.
Yes, sir, man. Where you at right now? Where your destination is right now?
I'm actually in Ohio. It was a day drive from Alabama. I'm literally like I'm not even an hour away from my drop. So
Man, Ohio, man, you was just home, man. I just seen you yesterday, right? I just seen you yesterday, right?
yeah. No, when was it?
That was yesterday, man.
Nah, you didn't see me yesterday. You
I
had
saw
just
you
seen
yesterday, man.
me. Nah, you seen me like Monday. I think you seen me
No,
Monday.
bro, I seen you yesterday.
Where you seen me at?
Man, when I met up with you, man. It's been that many days, man. All my days running together. Man, but besides the point, man, I just seen you a few days ago. But man, yeah, let's get to this topic, man. Matriarchy, man. The societal matriarchy, man. Our society that is ran by a matriarch or by women. We just passed, Mother's Day, and you know what I'm saying, we always honor our mothers and honor the women in our lives, man. So, man, this ain't nothing to bash anybody, but this is to bring about, reality of the situations that we're in and why we're in the situations and how we got into the situation. But before we do all that, man, um, let's get to what a matriarchy is. Matriarchy is a social system in which women hold the primary power positions and roles of authority. In a broader sense, it can also extend to moral authority, social privilege, and control of property. That's a lot, and we're gonna break all that down, man. Yeah, we're gonna break all that down. So, do you believe in our society that is a matriarchy or matriarchal society?
Do I believe in what?
Do you believe that our society is ran through matriarchy?
Um, I I think that we're coming out of patriarchy like in its totality. You feel me? I think that we're actually coming out of it. We are seeing a sort of egalitarian, society, but I don't know. I don't see it being matriarchal. No, like widely, not at all.
No?
And but at the same time, I don't see it being patriarchal either. Like
Right.
that's just me. You know, there's some stats that could disprove that. Like I know a lot of women, they like to say, well, men still out earn us. It's like, yeah, but if you look at it, it's not like it used to be a marginal difference. Now there's no marginal difference. It's like I think it's like 2 cent different.
Right.
And there's certain fields, where women just like totally dominate men in, because men just don't we just don't like largely we don't rush to that field. It's not
Right.
I guess guy centric or man centric. So but yeah, I think that, for what it's worth, it's we're not either. We certain things apply.
Right, and you're talking about the United States as a whole, or as
Yes, the United States as a whole. Yeah, just United States as a whole. But I mean, I still think that even like ethically, concerning like even in like different communities, like you really don't see, especially like in if it's different communities of people, you know, um who like tend to gravitate towards each other, like let's just say, Mexicans and blacks and whites and things that I still don't see it as being matriarchal.
well. Let's take a look at some stats though, real quick, dude. Let's look at some stats.
This man,
Huh?
this man gonna
Yeah. Well,
bring up that
let's bring out the stats. So we're gonna bring out the stats, man.
facts. I got the facts, B.
um, how many children are raised in a two-parent household? Right? Because that's what it boils down to.
Yep.
Because if you are and if you're in a house where there's just a mom, then the mother is going to be the one that sets the rules, sets the boundaries, sets the um, you know the parameters of the child, and guide the child and put the moral um, compass on the child. So
Yep.
depending on depending on the stats, which we have here, the majority of America's 72.9 million children under 18 live in households with two parents. That's 70%. The second common are
But that's
children
all Americans.
living.
That,
Yes, all Americans, yes. The second
okay.
common are children living with mothers only. That's 21%. Um, so based on races, I think just running off the top of my head, um, it was like 72%, 70 some odd percent of Asians have two parent households. I believe it's like 61% of white, and then it's like 30 something percent of Spanish, and then I think
We
let's
were in
look
like
at
the 20.
here it is 82. While let me see, Asians had the highest proportion of two parent families of any race or ethnicity group, comprising 84.3% of all Asian families with children in the 1990s. White families were close behind 82%, Hispanic 71%, Native American 63%, black families 46%. That's in the 90s, right? That's in the 90s. But now, today, it's 37% of black children are living in a home headed by their own two biological parents. Right, so 37%, and there's different statistics there, but black people are all the way down to 30 something percent in the mid 30s, and most of those are single mothers, single black mothers. So I would say,
You s- Yeah.
and for the black community, I would believe that it's more so a um, matriarchal construct in the home. So you hear me? Hello, hello.
Peacock, you having bad connection.
I can't be. Can you hear, you hear me?
I got you. You in
Okay, you must have did something to me, man.
come on, man.
But yeah, what's the last part you heard?
Yeah, you were saying that it's a matriarchal construct, that exists within the black family. When it comes to single parent households, it's majority matriarchal, meaning the mom is the one who's rearing up the child, majority, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So where does that come from?
Um, I mean, I would like to say that so we in our community, I think that our values are they've changed, through throughout the coming years, or over the years, the values that we once instilled within our children, they've changed. And I wouldn't say that, I don't think any woman desires to be a single parent, but it's a multitude of things that could kind of lead to that, like
Right.
incentivizing single parenthood, as far as welfare and the social net. Not to mention, not only that, not to mention, I also believe that there's a certain level of independency that kind of takes place, when a woman is left with the child. I don't know if it's it's almost like a hill that she has to climb, or a hill that she has to surmount to say, well, I can do whatever a man can do. And it's like, yeah, for the most part, but at the same time, don't diminish the role of that guy, or that father in that kid's life. Like, don't diminish his role.
Right.
Still hold him, still, and I'm not saying that alleviates him from his responsibility. Still hold him accountable, to take his portion or his part in that. But I think that largely our values don't cater to two parent households, and I think that's what's really messing us up.
Well, a lot of people would like to bring about the aspect of slavery and the part it had to play on the black family and the development of the black family. And would you say that is um, a realistic viewpoint?
Well, I mean, we were we were married during slavery, during the time of slavery.
Right.
Before the time of slavery, I'm sure that there's a civil union that was taking place, in all of our indigenous places, whether we identify as Africans, or any of the countries in Africa, or whether we identify as Native Americans.
Right.
We still they were marrying before then, came over on the boat. They were marrying, they were jumping the broom then. And afterwards, we see during the Jim Crow era, and also, Reconstruction, Industrial Revolution, during those times, our marriage rates were like extremely high. I want to say it was like in between 60 to 70% actually during those times. And regardless, or minus all of the extremes, I can't say, hey, well, every woman was living in the lap of luxury, but at the same time, I think that they understood their role back then, for the most part, both parents. I
Right.
think they understood that the basis of any nation, period, is the family. It's the elementary family. It's the man, the woman, the kids. So yeah, I think that if we held a heavier emphasis on that concept, I think that that would be what's best on a fundamental level. Like, before we start getting into subgenres, or uh, before we start branching things off, like on a fundamental level, like, nah, slavery, during slavery we were marrying afterwards, we're marrying before. Like, it's
Right.
why aren't we now?
What about the aspect of when that husband was shipped off and sold to a different plantation, sold to a different owner or whatever you want to call it, and they broke up that family,
Mhm.
or even the time when the man was humiliated, emasculated, just
Yeah.
done all types wrong, where he could not be that protection for his family, and so if the woman no longer looks at her man for protection, and we see it even in today's time. And I'll tie it all in. During the time of slavery, when he was emasculated and done wrong, and all these different heinous crimes was committed against the man of the family, the head of the family. You know, the woman would submit to the master, and then the children would submit unto because the woman was became the protector of the family then, because the man couldn't do anything. He can't use force against the master and rebel. If it did, it would cost him his life or cause him, punishment. And so he would either be shipped off or something done wrong to him. And so the role of the woman shifted. The role of the man shifted because the role of the man is to protect. And so when the protection's not there anymore, then the woman looks to someone else for that. And when the woman looks to and she holds something else in regard for that man's place, then the children is going to do the same thing. The children's going to follow that mother. And so you don't think that had a part to play in the family dynamic?
So you're saying that there's a psychological behind all of those various or all of that whole experience was traumatic, and you think that it's a psychological factor that plays into it, as in
Yes.
maybe there's some underlying or some residual trauma from that.
Right.
I mean,
All
sure.
right. Let's take a look at our state now, the state of certain black people. They
Mhm.
A lot of people don't have the man in the house, and they're under assistance of the government, right? Some type of
Uh-huh.
governmental assistance, and this ties right along with the definition that we gave at the beginning of the episode, where it says that matriarchy is a social system in which women hold the primary power positions and roles of authority. All right, we're talking about not necessarily. We've already established that not in America, but in the family. And let's talk about the black family. All right, she holds the the primary power position of authority in the family, in the black family. Because remember, we're talking about 67% or 33 to 34% that are in single parent households. That means 67% are not in not in two parent households. All right. And so you
Okay,
have
so my, my bad, Peacock. Just to clarify, 30 something odd percent do have the dual
right,
parents, the
right.
mother and the father. So okay, so the
So
other okay, so
it's a 3 to 1. It's a 3 to 1,
okay,
whereas out of every four families, you're gonna get about almost three, a little bit less than three out of four, and two, what I'm
uh,
saying, are single mothers or single parents, but majority of those are single mothers. And so, all right, let me tie this into slavery. All right, so when the man was things were done to him, he was removed out of his position. All right,
uh,
and they looked to another source for their well being, for their protection, and so on and so forth. All right.
yeah,
Now we come to nowadays. The man is no longer there. All right, and now you're getting these assistants from the government or wherever. So now the man is being replaced because if there's a man there, the assistance is no longer available. It's no longer an option. So in
yeah.
order to still get that rent, that's $20 a month, and to get the food and to get all these different programs, get the housing and all this other stuff, the man can no longer be there. And where does that stem from? I think that still stems from, slavery and the psychological warfare that is being waged against, the black community.
But see, if you know it, then I don't think that it's hard to deduce that they would know it. And see, if we know this, both men and women, we should work harder to combat it because um I was just having a discussion today, and a lady she brought up that she one of her friends had got 3 abortions because because the guy keeps paying for it, and she was, but I don't mind as long as she keeps paying for it, but I would eventually want to have a baby. And it's like, wait a minute, when does personal accountability take place?
Right.
So So, and I'm not saying that we're not accountable because we were put in the situation. We're accountable because we propagate it, to a certain extent, or we prolong it, or we could, because we often utilize the man, the invisible man, and it's like, when are we gonna say, look, let's actually put feet on the ground, let's actually put hands, or pins in hands, let's actually put desire inside of our hearts to actually say, look, I'm gonna stay, and I'm gonna be honest with you. I used to preach this, I used to say, hey man, women stayed with men who were lackluster because they wanted their um their children to grow up in two-family households. They wanted what was best for their kids. And I say, so men, we should take a page out of their book,
Right, right.
because
Well, go ahead.
yeah. No, no, I was just gonna say, because right now, if you excuse me, if we pay attention to what's happening right now, and I'm just gonna give my spiritual or I guess prognosis of it. Well, it's not prognosis, but I say synopsis, and and I'll just go from there. So, and I hope everybody doesn't. I hope people don't damn me. I am a follower of Christ, but I do want to say that truth extends farther than the 66 books.
Yes.
So, but yeah, what we're seeing right now is we're seeing the chase of masculine and feminine energy. They're just chasing each other. They're just chasing each other. They're just chasing each other. When in actuality, they're supposed to be balanced. So, and that's a concept that exists inside everybody. But as a whole, I'm speaking global consciousness. As a whole, you have women, who are trying to, or they may not, I don't want to say trying, because I don't want to put their intent in it, but you have women that are operating more like men, or more masculinely,
Right.
and the men are like, wait a minute, y'all told us to take our position. We're trying to take our position, but we're being met with opposition now.
Right, right, right. So, what is a man supposed to do when the opposition is what do you suggest the man should do with that opposition when he's met with it?
There shouldn't be no reason why a man, and I'm gonna speak for my community, there shouldn't be no reason why a black man could, or there shouldn't be any reason why a black man should, know, who knows all of this information, who knows the percentages of children that are born under poverty because they're not in a dualistic household, or let me say, married, in a household with a married couple, because dualistic could be they're not married. But anywho, with a functioning relationship, there shouldn't be a reason why men, they know that the rate of single motherhood in America concerning black women. If they know this, they should be willing to say, well, you know what, look, I'm going to do what's best for my species. That's where I'm at with it. And that
So,
that might look like that might look like it might look like I don't want to say it. I mean, it could look ungraceful, but that's part of the sacrifice that we have to make for our people.
let's take a look at this. The woman has been holding down the black community, the black family, for a mighty long time.
Yep.
She's been holding it down. She has been there in the place of both parents in
Yep.
many occasions, in the majority of occasions, and we salute them for that. We appreciate them for that. We are so grateful for them doing that. But one thing about power, they say absolute power corrupts absolutely. All right. But anytime someone has a power, you know, we talk about power dynamics, they are not willing to give it up. They're not willing to give it up. But the
Yeah.
thing about it, the power that the woman has when she has been holding down the fort by herself is not the power that is for her. The woman is most powerful when she has a man in his place that she is supporting. Because in all actuality, she gets to influence that power greater than she can wield it.
Yes.
And, we have to get our women back to the point of understanding where their power is. A lot of people might say the power is in the PUSS, you can finish it. But that's not the power of the woman. The power of the woman is with her influence and with how she helps that man. Because as we know, us being two preachers, two men of God, that it says that the man was not made for the woman. It says, but the woman was made for the man. And then that there is a power dynamic there where there's Christ, the man, the woman, the children. You know what I mean? And everybody has their role to play. The man does not have all absolute power. He has to submit himself to Christ, as the woman should submit herself to her husband. You know what I mean? But the thing is, we have to take responsibility for the situation that we're in. The man has to take responsibility for not being there. The woman has to take responsibility for not allowing the man to be there in a lot of cases. You know what I mean? And it's like no woman, I don't believe any adult, mature woman will say, I don't need a man, or I don't need a man when it comes to children. That I said
Yes.
mature adult woman. Mature
Okay.
adult woman.
It's
Not
a
all,
lot. And,
yeah.
and I'm gonna be honest with you, Peacock. My bad.
No, they say it, but it's because it's been propagated to them. It's because it's been said in front of them and amongst them, and then they pick up the mantra and they carry it on. That's not how they truly feel. They didn't believe that until somebody introduced them to that. They didn't believe that until all the women independent. They didn't believe that until who run the world? Girls. Who they didn't believe all this stuff until all this music and society started pushing this independent woman crap on
And
them.
the women who singing it, guess who they got?
Married, they married, and this is again, we salute the women who have been, excuse me, holding it down the fort. But it's time
Yep.
for a change because we got to look at the state of our community. We have to look at the state of our children.
But see, what I was gonna say was this. What we're listen, men, we have to pay attention.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna tell you why. And I'm gonna say it and we're gonna come back. So I'm finna throw my line out there in the deep end,
All
and then
right,
we're
let's
gonna
go.
bring it back up.
Let's go.
men, men have to pay attention. They had a show called Why, basically where all the men disappeared. All right. So with the advancements in science, they're women can freeze their eggs.
Mm-hmm.
Not only that, you should look this up. There's a specific fluid that's inside of the woman's spinal cord that could be harvested to fertilize other women.
Really, really.
You have you have to look it up. Blew me out of the water.
Okay.
I I now don't get me don't quote me on this, but I believe we're far away from the artificial womb, but it has come up in conversations.
Uh
What
huh.
what what is valuable to men, both men and woman is the spiritual aspect of both of them. It's the perspective that we could provide each other. But them with I think that they're creating and these people they may have a benevolent cause, like I said, I'm not talking about intention. They may have a benevolent cause, but it could possibly create a greater divide among the sexes.
Okay.
Especially if the only thing that because like, dude, they're creating robots just for that, just for intercourse.
Yeah.
So
this here, well, I don't know if it's it says that artificial sperm from human bone marrow. That's what you're talking about?
mhm.
Yeah. I see what you're talking about. Yeah. They've
but
made
not but not be used on them for other women.
right. That's crazy.
And people were talking about women. It's a lot. Like, I've heard people talk about women predating men because the Y chromosome.
Right. I know where you're going.
Yeah, it's an alteration. It's a mutation of the X. Like, and the key indication of that is, why do men have nipples? We don't need them.
Right.
We don't.
No, but I'll tell you why that is. I'll tell you why that is because and when the fetus is being developed, we all start off as female. We all start off as female, and then when the organs and stuff start to develop, then that's where. But we all start off as the female, and um, that may assist the argument that women predated men. But I don't buy that argument because that's not Bible. So if it's not Bible, I don't receive it.
And plus, I would also say this. I would also say, so this is the reason why I don't buy it. I don't buy it because before I would be able to give that credence, I would have to give credence to metaphysics.
Okay.
Like, how did we incarnate? Like, if somebody were to say, well, look, I don't believe in God, but I do believe that woman came first. Okay, how did they incarnate? Like,
Right.
it goes deeper. Like,
It
how.
goes deep. It goes deep. Hey, but hold that thought, man. Hold that thought because, man, we got to hit up our sponsor, man. So right after this, man, we'll be right back with you.
Degrees of separation connecting you to the source.
If you want to represent your faith with your fashion, go to gospelgains.com. If you want to show your salvation on your sleeve, gospelgains.com. GOSPELGAINS. Type in the word degrees at checkout. You'll get a 15% discount on your entire purchase. All right, man, we back. So what's this point that you so eloquently are giving us, man?
That thing just slipped. It just slipped my mind.
We was talking about how did they incarnate, and then we was going to
Oh yeah.
yeah.
So all right. So okay. So irreducible complexity would teach us that nothing, everything that we needed had to come into being simultaneously. Like, it couldn't have come into being what's the word I'm looking for? Consecutive, like back to back. Like for
Right.
instance, I don't need a mouth if I don't have a stomach. I don't need a rectum if I don't have a stomach. So which evolved first, or which which grew first? Like,
Right.
they had to, and then within those things, like within the stomach, the bacteria, like, there's so much that it's like it's like you can't remove one thing. They all had to like come into being, like, or be formed and fashioned and then be animated in order to function.
Right.
But I'm just saying all that to say, okay, if a woman would have came first, who did they mate with? Like where did the first man come from?
Right.
Like certainly, you could produce X's, but where did the first man come from?
Right.
Two, why would you need men if you could already procreate? You get me? It's just so many,
Right. Right.
like
Right.
it's 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 not optimal, or it's not pragmatic. It's not. You just created a new. You just created you went from taking one step to taking two steps by including a man. You get me?
Right.
It's
Right.
like you didn't need him.
Right.
So
It's,
stop.
with that being said, do you think that's propagating a matriarchal society there?
Yes, yes. I've heard that. I've heard that type of rhetoric spent so many times, man. Like, it's unbelievable, and it leads people to worshiping women. Like, no, I'm not gonna
Yes.
worship you. You crazy?
Right. Right.
I'm gonna
Like,
worship. No, no, man. You don't get it. Like,
right. Right. You're right. And that goes back to that goes back to the definition of the woman, or it being in a matriarchal society that in which the woman holds the primary power position in the roles of authority. So if you're worshiping that woman, she has ultimate authority. Um, I believe we talked about that on a pretty good level. And another part is, in a broader sense, it can also extend to moral authority, social privilege, and control of property. Let's deal with the social privilege now. Which you say you don't believe that is that's your stance, that that's a matriarchal society. And like I said, uh, I believe it is. I believe it is based on these arguments.
and that's the black.
Social, the black one, yes, but I think we both agree on black. Um,
Okay.
but look at this though. And this is even more so in all of us in the whole society of America. In a broader sense, it can also extend to moral authority and social privilege. Who has the social privilege in society today?
Who has the social privilege?
Who has the social privilege in today's society?
I don't. I don't think there's necessarily a privilege though.
Okay,
Like,
it's okay.
because okay, women would say that male privilege exists, and I say, okay, what is male privilege? They would say, well, if you walk down the street, you don't have to worry about getting raped. I'm like, one, I do. I mean, I think everybody got to worry about getting raped. You know,
Oh, that's hilarious. That's hilarious, bro.
I'm just saying that they want it. Like, Police Johnson, he want it, bro. He like it, he
I
want
like you and I want you. Hilarious,
it. Nah,
bro.
but I get what they're saying. People, if they had to choose between a man and a woman, the rapist would probably choose the woman, because she oftentimes, and I would like to say all the time, but I'm just gonna say oftentimes, is the more physically weaker, physically.
Right, right,
And but that isn't a privilege, because see, what you insinuating is, when we say, okay, someone has a privilege, we're insinuating intent. We're insinuating that, hey, this person made this, in my opinion, this person made this law, or they made this social construct in order to surmount or be over the other sex, or the other
hmm
class, whatever the case may be. When in
right,
fact, my male privilege is God given. I didn't do any, like, I'm not, I wish you could have it. You know what I'm saying? I wish we all was 6'2", 300, but we
right,
aren't.
right.
So, in a sense, I would have to see that there's a law on the books that is, simply allotted to men that isn't allotted to women and vice versa. And,
Let's look at this though. A woman, socially, if
uh,
she makes a declaration of any sort, it is automatically assumed that the declaration is factual. You know what I mean? They have that privilege. A man can't make the same declarations as a woman and be believed.
I mean, it's happened though, both ways.
But majority, on the majority basis, can you say the same thing that all right, let's take that rape that you was just talking about.
Okay.
If a man comes out and says, "Hey, I've been sexually assaulted and raped. This person did it." Will they be believed and not
I mean,
clowned and not clowned?
so there's a different social construct, but like I'm saying, let's stick to the what's set in stone. Like, are there any laws that say, hey, well, women could do this, but men can't do this, and this is a privilege? Like, cause that could change. You know what I'm saying?
How can that? You know what's going to have to make that? So, but nah, you got to answer that question though. You can't run back to the laws because the laws are not what we base our all of our social constructs on. You know what I mean? I understand what you're saying. I understand where you're trying to go, but there are even in the law, if a man made a declaration in the law, it's not going to be as smooth for him as it will be for a woman. He might not get heard like a woman's going to get heard.
But then you have women who actually say that the reason why they wait so long to come out, with their whole the reason why they wait to come out, so long with their allegations is because they believe that, they won't be heard. And oftentimes, like, that happens. We're just now getting out of the, well, she's fast stage,
Yeah,
and
but
now we say no.
what about the man who never reports? How many men have never reported their sexual assault because the trauma that they have to deal with?
I'd agree. Like, I agree. Like, to a certain extent. Like, if there's a men typically who get touched by men, they're not saying nothing.
Right.
They're gonna charge it to the game. They might kill a dude, or it's a lot of stuff that, man, I've seen men who are hurt. Like, I seen a dude online who was hurt, and he addressed that dude straight up, and he told that dude about how he hurt him, this and that, the third, but he never reported him. And I've seen women who waited 20 years, their mother never protected them, and guess what? Like, it's like I don't think. See, that's why I said, like, I can't. I have to stick to something that's solid when it comes to, like, the privilege. Like, when it comes to, because, see, it's like I say, that slides to a lot of different things. It slides to, let's say, what about white privilege? Well, what about black privilege?
Right.
Well, what
Right.
about
Right.
classism? You know what I'm saying? Let's say, okay, well, what do we have that's solid that we could agree on? Because I could agree, me being a man, I could agree that as a man, it would have been hard for me, now where I'm at now, yeah. But as a child, growing up, a young adult, I'm not gonna say anything about any sexual assault. And I'm telling you, looking at the hindsight, I wouldn't have said it as a child because of, the people that I was around. But I don't think that, women are privileged in that area, because it's women who say, hey, I was a little kid and I didn't think anybody would understand me, so I wouldn't say anything.
Right.
Also because, my mom was just gonna beat me, or she was just gonna put me on birth control or something like that.
Right. Right. I understand. That's a good point that you make there, and I think it comes down to case by case scenario, case by case basis when we're talking about these things, because what one may have to deal with, another may not. And that's the thing that we have to understand is that I don't think it'll ever be one way always. I think it's going to be a fluctuation of it. But but before we get there, let's go deal with also another aspect of that definition talks about property. Yeah, talk about property. So when it comes to the ownership or the control of that property, um, where does it lean from your perspective? What does it lean to?
Yeah, it um I think it leans toward now. See, like I said, when we when I think of matriarchal and patriarchal, there's a certain level of intent that is implied. Like when women just to follow me, when women say, well, we live in a patriarchal society, I think that they imply intent. Like, hey, that's the way that men wanted it to be.
Right.
It's like I really don't believe that. I believe that what it is it's just the way it is. Like men, just like why men shy or we have a natural affinity to STEM programs. We got a
Right.
natural affinity to construction. Yeah, I don't hear women say, man, that construction job I got straight though. I hear men say that. You know what I'm saying? I hear men say, man, I love being an engineer. I love being a mechanic. I love, and that's not saying that women can't do it, but they don't have a natural affinity to those things.
Right.
So since men have a natural affinity, you know, to partake in jobs that kind of keep society going, which tend to be the high paying jobs, I mean, they tend to have more control over, I mean, and like I said, intent, they keep putting intent in it. Like they tend to have more control because that's the jobs that they inherit or they inhabit, they go to, they have more control when it comes to property because they own it, or when it comes to passing laws, which govern property, things of that nature. Like that's is I don't think that there's an intention in that though. I just think that that's just the way it is.
Right. Okay. This comedian talk about this man who got divorced, and his boy come over and tell him she took everything. She took everything. But when it comes to a man could work and work and work and work. And don't get me wrong, I'm not against this happening. I'm not
Mm,
necessarily for it happening.
mm.
Again, it's all based on the case by case and different dynamics of the family. That man works
I'm
to
against it. No, I'm messing with
they work to obtain, they work to sustain, and then if there's a split, they have to release that property, they have to release everything unto the
half
woman.
of it.
What's that?
Half of it.
Or they have to give it up, the whole thing. They have to sell and split the proceeds, or either give up, depending on the dynamics of the relationship, give that home up, give up that property, give up this, give up that. So so the privilege isn't on the man to receive that. It's just recently that you starting to see in the news that men are starting to get alimony, men are starting to get child support, men are starting to get these things.
I mean, y'all want equality. See, I'm gonna tell you another thing. With the patriarchal society, putting that in quotations, there came double standards. Men understood, hey, I gotta open up doors. Hey, I gotta, I have to take care of you, regardless of how I feel. Men understood, different double standards.
Mhm.
But now, no, we want to, okay, let's be equal on all playing fields. Men started saying, look, you know, what's him call it, husband, I got her name, Mary J. Blige's
Oh yeah,
husband. You can't introduce me into this lifestyle and then just throw me out. I need my 20K a month.
yeah.
You know, it's equality. And here comes, the social construct. A lot of us will look at him, or even women look at him like a beta male. But that's it's what's needed.
He
I
said,
mean,
Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah,
That's what
that's what it is.
that's the game we're playing. But that speaks to and that right there speaks to the feminine chasing the masculine, the matriarchy chasing the patriarchy.
Right. So yeah, it's a because as you see, man, and as just to, hone in on that what you're saying and what you said before about that energy.
Yeah.
It's like it's like it's been a switch flipped to where men are so effeminate now.
Yeah.
It's and this the term toxic masculinity and so
I
on and
don't believe.
so forth. Um, but now you have it's toxic now the way that it is. I mean, we don't have to go back to the man's man, the Sly Stallone and what's the other name? Arnold Schwarzenegger days and John McClane and what I mean, all
All of
these
them.
other stuff, Bruce Willis and all these people like this. We don't have to be that man's man action figure, blow him up type macho type of man. But what I mean, being a man is simply taking care of your responsibility and not running from it and standing in the paint when things get tough or get hard and figuring out a solution to the problem that's at hand. And it's like it's been flipped, man. It's like a man can't stand up for anything anymore. You don't
Right.
have men standing up for their families. You don't have men standing up for their for themselves, and they just let anything because they're afraid of what somebody else might think or what somebody else might do. You might get canceled or so on and so forth. I don't say there aren't any men like that because I know there are men like me. There's men like you that do make a stand and do stand on, you know, their values and
Masculine.
morals, and that's masculine, and they do take care of their responsibilities. You know what I mean? But it's like society as a whole, it's just like it's just been turned on its head.
Yeah. I definitely agree with that. And I want to say that part of matriarchal construct, and people could, give me flat back for this, but it is feminism, you know. And by feminism, I don't mean a movement, but I mean the phenomena, or the the construct of it. You feel me? Like, people getting canceled, and just the I think that we're overly emotional. There isn't anything wrong with upholding a certain level of masculinity. And I think that that's actually needed. When like when you're dealing in logic and reality, like just working on a job, or there sometimes there isn't place for things of that nature. Like when it's time to get things done, like standing on your square. you know I'm not saying that men can't be emotional. I actually think that emotional awareness is missing in the black community. But that also entails, like, the emotional awareness that was missing isn't black men being overly emotional, how we look at it, femininely.
Hmm.
But I think that them being overly violent that's being overly emotional. Anger is an emotion. And,
Yes.
we would, and the average man thinks, well, just because I could beat up everybody, I'm not emotional. No, you hurt.
Yeah.
That's emotion too. And I think on that, when it comes to that dichotomy, or those separate ends, I think that type of emotional awareness is good. I think that needs to be looked at and checked. But yeah, just overly emotional. I think that masculinity definitely has to, it has to, like, the feminism is the feminine chasing the masculine. And I think that what's happening is, the masculine is about to kind of, it's like a balance. Like it's about to chase the feminine again. That's why you see a lot of men, giving pushback and red pill talk and stuff like that.
Right, right. Um, I see a lot of those conversations happening, and the delivery is off-putting to some, but
Yeah,
to the women that's in that uh, conversation, like they're in the physical part of that conversation, it's revelatory to them because it's
yeah,
right there in their face and it's in the
yeah,
moment and it's not in a judgmental way. But everybody that's looking at the clips,
yeah,
they pass judgment on the conversation that is being held between those people in that actual time, and that's the importance of conversation. I think that's why we, bring these conversations to the forefront to show the aspect of it and to break down those conversations, not as a competitive me against you type conversation, but a dialogue. You know, and I think that's what's important about these conversations that we're having and will continue to have at Degrees of Separation, man, because we have to learn how to listen to one another, like we talked about a few episodes ago, having a true, genuine conversation, and
yeah,
it's not until we have those true, genuine conversations, and we take a look at our very own uh, construct of life, our very own makeup of our families, our very own makeup of our circles that we involve ourselves in, and we deal with those first and foremost before we try to deal with the world's society and the world's construct. But if we just deal with our family, if I'm in my home, I have 5 children. If I'm in my home and I take my rightful place, and my wife is there to help me, and she takes her rightful place, and we rear up our children in the proper ways, and we give them that opportunity to succeed with 2 parent household, and not just me being in the house and me just being in the house, but me being in the house and me playing my role as the dad and as a husband. And and once I do that, and we build a cycle and we build generations of doing that, then we'll see that flip that you're talking about on a broader sense, of the masculine chasing the feminine, and things lining itself back up to where all this extra work is not having to be done by someone that is not equipped to do all that work, because I'm not equipped to do what my wife can do. You know
yeah,
what I'm saying? And I help out with the things that my wife, but I can't do what my wife can do. I got a newborn. I got a 1 month old right now, and you know, I hold the baby. I give her a pacifier, but man, and sometimes like she could have just fed her, and she'll give it to me, and she'll go right back. Yeah, she ain't having it. I want mommy. I need to eat some more. I need to do this some more. It's certain things that I can't do it like my wife can do it, and I would run myself dry trying to consistently do what she can do, what she was been made to do. And she would burn herself out trying to do what I've been made to do. But if we come together as a team, then we can achieve anything when it comes to our family. So I believe it's a case by case, basis by basis thing that we have to deal with when we talk about matriarchal and patriarchal. And it's some people that just it's some cultures that it's all matriarchal.
yeah.
You know what I
It is.
mean?
You're right. It's certain countries, man. I know for sure that it's like over like 20. I think it's like 25 countries that still practice matriarchal civilizations, and they're thriving. You know, and
I believe Native Americans are one.
matriarchal,
Yes,
and also it's a lot of countries that are matrilineal. That will pass down the last name or the lineage of the family through the mother.
yeah, yeah.
And I'm not saying I'm not saying it could be sacrilegious or anything like that, but they're thriving. They're doing it, and it appears to be working for them.
Right.
But for I was gonna say but no, it is a slip my mind.
You was talking about
It,
matrilineal and matriarchal and societies and about 20.
it was actually it was something that you had said just maybe 2 minutes ago that I wanted to hit at, but I lost it.
Okay. Oh, the case by case scenarios about me helping my wife and my wife helping me, and we're doing. I can't do what she can do, and she can't do what I can do. We'll burn each other. Burn it.
Yeah,
That's what.
woman, I think that when women understand that, they actually have like a hollow position. Like, it's so this the position that the that women occupy is so hollowed that you got grown men chasing that position, bruh.
That's
That's
funny.
not a shot. That ain't a shot to anybody who identify the way they identify, but y'all are seeking a position, and I get it. Like, it's a hollow position. You know what I'm saying?
This
Like,
man finna
I
get us
want
kicked
women,
off YouTube, man, before we get started.
but
I
no,
feel
but
you.
in all honesty though, like that, and that's so. So I ain't even gonna get into the spiritual significance. Put it like this: you have that energy, and it could be I ain't saying it's benevolent or malevolent. It could be demonic, but trying to manifest through these people
Right.
to take that, or not. They only I won't say they want to take it, but to assume that position.
Right.
I won't put no intent with it, but they're trying to assume that position. That should tell women how good that they have it. Now, when that man is, yielded and submitted to God, might I add, when that man is yielded and submitted to God, I believe that position is hollow,
Yes, sir.
because any man, there ain't a single man on earth that's gonna tell you that, well, I just do everything just for myself. It's only for me. I'm gonna tell you right now, God created us the way He created us. The things that we do, putting up the house, the air condition, cars, things of that nature. Even before that, we can go back to primitive days. Fire, hunting, gathering. We did it for that woman and them kids, the two most protected demographic on earth.
Hey, I'm gonna sum it up like this. Adam said, "For this cause, this man ain't have
Mm-hmm.
no father or no mother." He said, "But for this cause, shall a man
And it was
leave his father?"
prophesied.
Yeah, he was prophesied, man. For this cause, shall a man leave father and mother and cleave to his wife?
Wow, man, you done gave me some revelation off that one. That man said Adam ain't even have one.
But he's, hey, that man said, "Look, this woman's so
Wow,
good." What? Yes, sir, man.
that's crazy. I like
Yes, sir.
that.
But yeah, man, go, man. Time far spent, man. It's a good conversation, man. Go ahead, drop. Let them know what's up with you, man.
Yeah, you can find me on Facebook at Daryl Sales. That's DARYLLESALES, spelled just like it is on my name down there. Let me see, boom. And and I tried to point at it like
It
down
was down there.
there, right there. And you can also find me on Instagram at Daryl DJ Sales, and I'm also on Clubhouse. You're gonna catch me bouncing in and out of rooms, just giving my theological, philosophical perspective on topics. Shaman on Clubhouse.
Yes, sir, man. Again, man, you can find us at Degrees of Separation on everything, man. That's DEGREEZ. Degrees of Separation on Facebook, Degrees of Separation on Instagram, degreesseparation.com, Degrees of Separation at gmail.com for our email, man. And on YouTube, Degrees of Separation, all one word, DEGREEZOVSEPARATION. Degree separation, all one word on YouTube, man. Again, man, we may be 1 or 2 degrees separated from each other, but when it comes to God, it should be 0 degrees of separation, and we out.
Degrees of separation, connecting you to the source.